How cruel. Right? You feed rats genetically modified potatoes for 30 days. Potato. 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 More potato. That would kill me. And then whereas rats fed a normal diet, what the heck is a normal diet? Carrots, gravy, turkey dinner, the whole 9 yards. This is a serious problem, right? Maybe they have deformities because they were just given potatoes. What they really needed to do is give people potatoes, or rats, and same thing, right? Rats, potatoes, and normal potatoes, and then genetically modified potatoes. Then we could be able to say, oh, did the genetically modifiedness create a problem? Okay. So A seriously weakens this argument because it says they were given stuff that they don't even eat.
Why is E wrong?
Why is E wrong? The researchers conducting the study were unable to explain how the genetic modifications of the potato would have caused the intestinal deformities. Well, even if you're not able to explain why something happens, you could still conclude that it does.
But how do you know for sure the potatoes are bad for a rat? Like, I feel like that's the same amount of sort of outside assumptions to, like it just seems to me equal that for A, you're assuming that the potatoes are actually just bad for rats, and E, like, the study was not good. Do you know what I'm saying? No?
Okay, you are making an assumption, but not necessarily that, you don't even have to assume that potatoes are bad for them. If they're even if you just assume that they're not normally part of diet, then what does that mean about the other rats? They didn't get potatoes because they got a normal diet. And so A says potatoes are not normally part of the diet of laboratory rats, so they're not giving them the potatoes. So that means you're giving like pellets to these rats and you're giving potatoes, genetically modified potatoes to these rats. And so does the difference have anything to do with the genetic modification, or does it have to do with the potatoes themselves? It doesn't prove that it has to do with the potatoes. Maybe it is the genetic modification, but it's a really bad comparison.
Yeah.
Do you see how A takes potatoes out of the other group?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I'm not necessarily convinced. I mean, I guess it's focusing on the way that the experiment was organized versus the result.
Well, the thing with E is that E doesn't really have to do with the result. Like, I'm thinking right now of Zika. You guys, that's how you pronounce it, right? This new thing that's coming? Mm-hmm. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a pretty strong conclusion out there, I think. It's pretty well supported that Zika creates deformities in children in utero, but they've said we don't know how. So I think you can draw a conclusion pretty confidently that something is happening, even if you can't explain why it is. So when someone says, well, you don't know how that's happening, you can say, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't. But you know, we had people in this room that had the potatoes that were genetically modified. Then we had these people in this room with the potatoes that are not genetically modified. Nothing else was different about these thousands of people. And these people over here kept living and having a joyous life. And these people all became decrepit and died. Like, I don't know what's happening. But, you know, it's a little extreme. But you could be very certain that there is something wrong with those potatoes because you could move the rooms around. You say, the only thing that changed was the genetic potatoes. I don't know what the heck is going on here, but... So that's why I think E is just irrelevant. Courtney, I only use that example so you never forget.
Yeah, it's very morbid.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But sometimes that happens, you know? These rats. Okay, so any other questions on this one? Kelly, you okay with that? You still don't, you feel like this is still a 50-50?
Well, I just sort of feel like the potatoes not being normally a part of the diet could fall into the category of E, they're not able to explain. But I get that in some ways that would mean it's A is stronger because it's more specific, but in my mind, when I was going through, that would make E stronger.
Hold on, so what's the issue in this argument? What's the conclusion saying?
that animal feed should not include genetically modified plants.
Yes, we should not include genetically modified plants. Right? We should not do this. The assumption is that genetically modified plants are bad
Yeah.
for animals,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If I said to you, well, researchers don't know why they're bad, they just know that they are bad, or researchers don't know why genetically modified food results in deformities, but they do result in deformities, would you still agree that they're bad?
I would be like, what is your proof that they result in deformities?
But wait, what if you
Cause
had?
versus
That's the issue.
correlation.
What if you had
Yeah.
proof that they resulted in deformities?
If they had proof, then I would.
That they resulted in deformities.
From the potatoes, yeah.
So you went up to them and say, hey, they result in deformities, and say, yes, we have 100% certainty that they will result in deformities. But you don't know why they result in deformities? No, we don't know why.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
You'd still be like, well, I guess that's
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
But so yeah. So
Yeah.
E is,
I was taking it a step further for that to mean that,
you thought that E meant they didn't have proof
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
resulted in deformities. But you could still have proof even if you don't understand why.
yeah.
And that's the same thing I think with Zika. We have proof that it's creating these deformities, but we don't know why.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay.